Right now, folks, we're talking about controlling the principal payment. And we just learned that if I control the principal payment on this loan, I actually make it easier to pay off the loan faster at a higher interest rate than a lower one. I'm going to go over that, just this part here. Okay. So I have an interest rate of 5.375. I have the same loan, a $150,000 loan at 3%. Now, if I offered you these two loans and you said, oh, I can get a 3% loan or I can get a 5.375% loan, or you have this higher interest rate. Do you know how many of us do that? But every time we refinance to lower interest rate and even reduce the term, you say, well, you don't have to keep a 30-year loan. You can reduce it to a 15-year. Every time we reduce the interest rate, every time we reduce the term, we actually make it harder to pay the loan off faster because we lose control of the principal payment. Never, ever lose control of the principal payment. Here's why. Let me show you some things here. All right. So we just showed that if we take on this particular loan, take $2,067.44. That's the amount of principal that we would pay down in 1 year. That's all the principal payments added up over here. And we start at $168 and it goes to $176 in principal payments. You add them all up for the year, it comes to $2,067.44. But look at these interest payments, $671, $670, over $600 in interest every single month. And that comes to $8,000 if we do it the bank's way. But we don't want to do it their way. We want to learn how to read this thing for ourselves and set the loan up for ourselves to benefit because of education. All right. So now we're going to take a look at the same loan at 3% here and look at around $2,077 does. It only takes us to line 8. But look at the interest payments. They're much smaller, but the principal payment is larger. So folks, if your goal is to pay the loan off faster and cheaper, did we do ourselves a favor by lowering the interest rate on this loan? Come on. I know it's hard to wrap your mind around the fact that we've been taught this for years. Do you realize that the 30-year loan is 88 years old this year? 88 years. And I'm going to ask this question of everybody, not only on the stage, but in the audience. In all of your financial education, everything that you've ever learned, have you ever had a class on how loans actually work and how the bank makes their money through interest and how to defeat their process? Have you ever had a class on it? We are expected to use loans, okay, buy our house with using credit. We're taught to understand credit, to keep our credit score high, make our payments, but we use loans for school, for student loans, for mortgages, for car loans. We use credit cards. We are in a society that uses credit all the time, but we've never been instructed as to how it really works. And we have made some huge assumptions based on advice of financial gurus who tell us, here's a rule of thumb that you can use, but they've never broken down the amortization schedule this way to tell us that by lowering the interest rate, we actually hurt ourselves in trying to pay the loan off early. Now, let me tell you, on a 30-year loan, that's 360 payments. If you plan to make all 360 payments, then yes, get the lowest interest rate possible. But if you want to get out of that 30-year loan in 7 to 9 years instead, you want to control the principal payment so it benefits you. And we're going to dive in this just a little bit deeper here. So we have $168 in principal payments over here. We have $258 starting out here. So if you were to attack this loan, you attack it with the principal payments. Well, then, Don, what about these interest payments? Over here, the interest payments are $300. Over here, the principal payments are almost double. They're $600. Let me tell you something, folks. Interest payments you skip don't matter. Interest payments you skip don't matter. So I've got a credit card here, okay? I've got a credit card that is 37% interest. Because I'm telling you, the penalty on some of these credit cards is crazy money, okay? 37%. Am I afraid to use my 37% credit card? What if I max out my 37% credit card and when the bill comes due, I pay it all off? How much interest did I just pay? Anybody on the stage? Anybody on the stage? How much interest did I pay if I pay off my 37% credit card when the bill comes due?
None.
None. So does it matter that it was 37%?
Not at all.
Not at all. What if it was 50%? I load that thing up, but I pay it off when the bill comes due. Even if it's 100%, it doesn't matter. Interest payments I skip don't matter. Don't focus on the wrong thing. Focus on the right thing, managing your principal payment. So watch this, folks. You're going to really love this. So if we understand this totally, that by understanding the principal payment, we need to control it. Over this one, where the principal payment is higher, would take 3,000 of our dollars to pay off 1 year of the principal if we were to try to accelerate it. Now, if you want to pay off your loan in 7 to 9 years, that means you have to give the bank back their money at a time when you can't be charged interest. So if you have some money available, it takes $3,000 because of amortization to get rid of 1 year's worth of payments. Where on the other loan, higher interest rate, it only takes $2,000 to get rid of 1 year's worth of payments. So folks, is it easier to come up with $2,000 in principal, $2,000 extra dollars? Or is it harder to come up with $3,000? You want to put yourself in a position that makes it better to accelerate this loan. Now I'm going to show you something, because when I was growing up, you know, $100,000 house when I was growing up, that was a major house. But, you know, the houses in my neighborhood were like $60,000 and $70,000. But the interest rate was 12% back then. 12%.
But Don has some valuable information that can contribute to the quality of a person's life. And it only costs you a few dollars. It's his book. Why not get that?
I'm going to go through the P.I.L.L method myself with some of my investment properties. So I'm going to link up with Don, and then I'm going to sit down with him, show him my investment portfolio, and see how I can eliminate interest.